Hey everybody, this is Matt and we're at Texas Toast Guitars. Thanks for watching. As soon as we get all the blue tape scraped off this fretboard, I thought we'd do a quick fret, level, and dress, and I thought I would take you guys along for the ride. So stick around, let me finish up here and we'll get started. Okay, I finally got all the blue tape peeled off, and I'm looking at the image there. I look like the overweight version of Russell Brand today. So don't give me too much grief, you guys. All right, so today we are going to be leveling and dressing the frets on this this Texas Toast Challenger model. This is one of my favoriteest guitars in the whole world because it's a design that Mrs. Toast and Chris and I all came up with and have been modifying and kind of working with for a long time. So I thought, like, let's work in the video with one of the Challengers because this is a really awesome guitar. So one of the things that I want to talk about real quick is why you need to level and dress frets. And you need to level and dress frets on every single guitar that you build. Even if you get a warm-off neck and it's really, really close, it can still benefit from a quick leveling and dressing of all the frets. And I'm going to kind of burn through some of the steps real fast here, just give you guys an idea of how we do it, and maybe it'll give you a little light bulb in your Russell Brand hat to figure out how to do some of this stuff for you and make it easy. So I got all the blue tape peeled off of the fretboard. We put blue tape on the fretboard before we spray clear because we don't want to get anything on the fretboard. This guitar has been clear coated, but it has not been wet sanded, level sanded, or buffed yet. So any of the stuff that we do with the fretting and leveling and dressing, it can get on the on the finish, and it's best to just get all that stuff on and then wipe it all back, do your wet sanding and buffing, and then that way you don't risk damaging your otherwise wonderful finish component. So because we're going to work really hard to get this better than show quality kind of finish level here. These guitars are really, really light. Okay, so the first thing that we are going to do is we are going to inspect the sides and make sure that we don't have to do anything. On this one, we're going to have to, because I don't know if you can see it, but I have not put the little angle on there for the frets. And the reason I haven't done that is because I like to do that after everything is done and painted, because then I go back with my file and put that 30-degree bevel on all the frets, and it takes all that paint crud off of there too. So let's get started. I've got a mat here that my friend Doug gave to me, and I've got a neck rest. We are going to start by using this file block that I handmade many years ago. You can buy these, but you don't have to. And what we're going to do is we're just going to run this over the fret ends and put a little bevel on there. But first, I want to mask off all of this paintwork so that if my file happens to touch the paint, it scratches the tape, not the paint. Now, just because you have tape on the body doesn't mean you can attack this like a wild man. You really need to make sure that your file isn't going to come into contact with your body, and so just kind of check and make sure that you're not going to grind onto this paint. Like I said, the tape is really only here just as a just in case. So we are going to file the ends of the frets until we get this 30-degree angle on the ends, and then we'll be ready to do some leveling and dressing. Okay, the next thing that you absolutely positively want to do is check to make sure your fretboard is flat. And I am using this notched straight edge that I got from my friends at Crimson Guitars to do that. There is a notch in between, or there's a notch for every fret for this scale, and you just want to lay that on there and have a peek and make sure you don't have any swoops or moguls or anything like that in your fretboard. Don't forget to do this. I always forget to do this. All right, so this is good to go. Now we're going to protect the fretboard with some tape And that is a crucial step. So I've got some masking tape, and what I want to do is protect my, my fretboard, because I'm going to be grinding a lot of metal off of the frets. So what we want to do is kind of put the edge of the edge of the tape right up against the fret edge there. Chris and some other guys have done this thing, and again, I always forget to do this. They run a piece of tape on the side here to make it easy to pull off all of this tape. So we're going to do that, and then we're going to put our tape on the top of the fretboard to protect it. The last time I did one of these videos, people kept telling me that I could use the factory edge of the tape to go on one side of the fret, and then fold the tape to go to the other side of the fret like this, and kind of have this thing in the middle there. And they're like, you're going to save so much time if you do that. And so I tried it, and yeah, I mean, it totally works, but you know, you got to use what works for you. I like to get my masking tape up on one side, and then grind it into the to the other fret, and then come in with the razor blade and cut. You guys have to figure out what works best and fastest for you. All right, enough of the bullshit talk. Let's get the rest of these done and get to leveling. I've got the fretboard all the way masked off, so the only thing that's poking through the tape is my frets. So what I want to do now is I want to get them all the same height by taking a beam and moving it across all of the frets, and it's got some abrasive paper on it. This is a beam that I got from my friends again at Crimson Guitars. This works really well. It's a machined piece of aluminum, and I've got 150 grit on this side and 220 grit on this side. I like to just make them out of just blocks of maple too, because I like them to be a little smaller than that. If you need something more aggressive, I've got this file here that is on a block thing. This came from StewMac, of course. So yeah, this works great, but this removes a lot of material. The one tool that you will not see me using is a radius block. And I suppose that you could use a radius block to do that, but I don't. I like to use a smaller block and just kind of ride along the surface of the frets. I'm not taking off a lot of meat here, because I worked very hard to make sure that my fretboard was level and flat, and then I pressed my frets in. So I'm not anticipating removing a lot of material with this step. So I normally don't do this, but for the sake of the video, I'm going to mark the tops of the frets, and as soon as all of the frets show some shiny stuff, then I'll know that all of the frets are level, and then we will check it with a fret rocker. You could fret rock it now if you want, but to me, that's just sort of an extra step. By the way, use the big Sharpie for this. Don't use the little one, because this has a great, but you see how fast that was. So, all right, let's start moving some metal here. I've got this, like I say, this little block of maple is probably my favorite. I've got 220 on this side and 320 on this side. Let's look and see how close we are here. This neck has never had strings on it. So that's why I don't have it in some crazy contraption. I do have it resting on the block, or on this this foam block here. I'm not really pressing very hard. I'm just sort of moving the piece over it, and I'm just knocking off the tops, and it looks pretty good. So now I'm going to chase it with the 320 side. And I might put a little bit of a fall away here on the bottom, the last few frets. Okay, that looks pretty good. Let's check it with a fret rocker. So the next thing I'm going to use is this fret rocker. The idea behind this tool is that one of these sides will span 3 frets. And if you span fewer than 3 frets, it won't do anything, and if you span more, it won't give you the result that you want either. So what you want to do is put one of these surface ground edges over 3 frets and see if you can rock back and forth. If you can, that means that the fret in the center is high. If you can't, then that gives you an idea that they are closer to being level than not. Okay, so, and you can make this. If you scooch it over this way, you can actually make it rock and give a false reading. So make sure you go slow and just check in a bunch of different places and ensure that your frets don't have any notorious high patches. And if they do, you can hit them again. Sometimes you actually might want to hit them with a hammer because they popped up out of the slot. But that's you shouldn't have to do that very much. Okay. So just check all along your fretboard with this guy, and then we should be done leveling, and we can start dressing the frets. All right, guys, we have all the frets are leveled, and I took my Sharpie marker and I put marker on the top. I didn't do like this, but I went on the top of each fret, and so everything has a guide code on it now. What we're going to do now is re-crown the frets. We're going to get rid of as much of that flat spot on the top of each fret as we can. And for that, I'm going to use my favorite tool, the Z file. People ask me, do you like the original Z file or the Safety Edge Z file? I have 5 or 6 of the Safety Edge ones, and we use those for classes. This is the original one. They both work great. Those are the only 2 that I've used, though. So I don't know. I don't know about the other style, but this is a great fret crowning tool because it doesn't let you grind off the change the height of the fret that you work so hard to get level. So all you do is go over the fret, and you can feel it bite. This is a diamond cut fret or file, so it takes off material both ways. And what you want to do is take off material until just a hint of that black line is showing. And this isn't like a deep dive video into how to do frets. I'm just showing you how we do it. So I'm going to do all of these guys, and then I'm going to speed up the video right now. One last thing we're going to do with the frets before we start to polish them is this is a regular fret crowning file that's round, concave, and I like to just go on the edge and just break that corner off of each fret, and just kind of make it a little nicer right there on the corner where the where that 30-degree bevel is, and just break that edge off. It only takes a little bit. There we go. Done. The next step that we're going to do is we're going to smooth out all of the scratches that we left from the previous files and things like that. And I've got some 320 and a little piece of foam here. And all we're going to do is bounce this paper over the frets And that's going to help reestablish the crown of the fret as well as get rid of some of the previous scratches. We're going to do this with 320 and 400, and then we're going to chase it with Scotch-Brite. All right, the last abrasive step that we're going to do is polishing using this high-speed wheel with some polishing rouge. And we're going to make all the littlest scratches we put in with Scotch-Brite disappear. And then when we pull the tape, they're going to look marvelous. All right, so all of the frets are nice and shiny, but there's a layer of crud from the polishing rouge on top. I'm just going to let these sit for a little while. Then I'm going to come back and wipe off all the frets before I pull any of the masking tape off. Then we'll peel the tape and they'll look really awesome. Okay, now comes the good part. We can pull all of the tape off and have a look at our beautiful shiny frets and see what they look like. This is where having tape on the side of the neck that the mask is attached to pays off. Unless you do that. Well, we got it on both sides, right? All right, so that is it, guys. Frets are leveled and dressed and buffed within an inch of their life, and they look like $100 million bucks. There's probably going to be some of you guys who go, well, that's not how Dan Erlewine does it, or that's not how my dad does it, or that's whatever. There's lots of ways to do this, guys. You got to figure out what works for you. If you are interested in a more deep dive discussion into how to do this, we have a video in our archive video section. I think the price is $19.99, and it's 2 hours of nothing but fret leveling and dressing and using tools like that. There will be a link in the description below, and I'm going to put that video on sale in case any of you guys want to see it. Like I say, it's 2 hours worth of stuff. Let's put it on sale for $9.99 and for the next 30 days. And you guys can take advantage of that video on sale. You know, this is actually pretty close. I should probably go ahead and make a nut for this, but maybe I'll do that tomorrow, and that will be in another video for you guys to watch. So guys, if you liked the video, please give me the thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please click the subscribe button. That, by the way, is Chris doing some painting in the new shop. Not guitars, but walls. So, click the subscribe button. We've been getting a lot of new subscribers, and that's very, very cool. If you appreciate this kind of content, you might want to go over to our Patreon page and consider becoming a member. Even $1 a month goes a long way to helping us bring you guys cool stuff like this. But if you can't do Patreon, we totally get it. Just like the video, share the video as many places as you can possibly think of, and help us grow the channel that way. So, until next time, this is Matt at Texas Toast reminding you that if you're so smart, start your own YouTube channel. That's what I did. Thanks for watching, you guys. We'll see you next time. Have a great week, everybody.